class, which is entitled The Basic Occupational Safety and Health for Mechanical Engineering. Thank you for joining us in today's event, and I am honored to host this year's alternative class. I am James Wilmer Farillo, a fourth-year mechanical engineering student, your senior, and I hope that you will enjoy this activity. On behalf of our organization, GPSME, faculty and staff, I am extending our gratitude as we now start this alternative class. Let us pay attention as we have our opening prayer and to be followed by the national anthem and the USA hymn.
Let us bow our heads, place ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Our Heavenly Father, we come before you today with humble hearts and with gratefulness for all the wonders and blessings you have showered upon us. Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering all of us today in this important event. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be in this momentous event. May you bestow your guidance and blessings on this event so that we can enjoy and appreciate the significance in our lives. Bless everyone present today that each may be able to share what he or she has for your glory and honor. Truly, discipline, perseverance, and determination to excel are instilled in us abundantly. This is not about ranking oneself among bests, but this is about the humble heart of a person who is able to see how blessed he is despite the odds and difficulties along the way. Lord, we acknowledge that everything comes from you, the God who orchestrates every second of our lives so perfectly. Because of his great love for us, all the praises and awards that we will receive today are meant to be given back to you. It is because of your grace and your guidance that we have come this far. Whatever is set before us, we give all the glory back to you. May this event be a success through your intervention. We ask all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Before we move on to the next part of our program, please be reminded of the following rules during the discussion. Mute your microphone. It is always best to mute your microphone when you are not actively speaking. Control background noise to the best of your ability. When your microphone is on and you're actively speaking or waiting to respond, try to control the background as best as you can. Please rename your name into course, comma, complete name. Be an active listener. A major part of video conferencing etiquette is making sure you're listening and understanding what's being said. Lastly, before logging out, please wait until the program has properly ended. So now, we will have our opening remarks to be given by our academic supervisor and JPSME advisor. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Engineer Elmer and Tolosa.
Good afternoon, dear ME students, third year and fourth year students. All
Good
those,
afternoon, sir.
good afternoon. We have, I think, participants from other programs. Okay, first year and second year ME students. Good afternoon, likewise. To our speaker, Dr. Enan Briabo, good afternoon, sir. To all other faculty members, especially the faculty members of the College of Technology for Mechanical Engineering Program. Mayong hapon sa aton nga tanan. I would like to congratulate in the first place the members of the GPSME, University of San Agustin chapter, for launching this alternative class on basic occupational safety in the health for mechanical engineering. We currently adhere to the provisions of Republic Act 11058, which is the act which strengthened the implementation of occupational safety and health in the workplace, and coupled with it is the provision for the penalty for violations of such provisions in that particular law. We have experienced several accidents as we were then in the industry. Dr. Briabo can attest to that likewise. All your faculty members in the ME program who have been industry practitioner had seen how severe the effect of what we call industrial accidents. My appreciation to Engineer Nolan Sudaria for finishing the course in Basic Occupational Safety and Health for Safety Officer 2. That is another level in this Republic Act 11058. And Dr. Briobo and myself are also safety practitioners, especially when we were then in the industry. Hopefully, as we will be starting our limited face-to-face classes for laboratory courses this coming week, we will be able to adhere to what our speaker will be discussing with us to avoid and get away with near miss accident, and for that matter, any accident from exercising our activities during the limited face-to-face for these laboratory courses. For the graduating class, hopefully, we will be able to look for a program or sponsors which can conduct again this basic occupational safety and health training, including your construction occupational safety and health training to complete your requirements for your on-the-job training program. But then we're still hoping that for the incoming fourth year, third year now, during this mid-year classes, starting July and August, hopefully we are totally free from the restrictions of this pandemic, and we will be experiencing a face-to-face, actual face-to-face OJT training in the industry, so that you will also be enjoying how it is to undergo this on-the-job training in the actual industry setting. And likewise, I believe we can duplicate what we had already done some 2 years ago when there were 15 or more ME students who had participated and concluded their training in basic occupational safety and health for safety officer one. Dr. Briobo was then the focal person, which made that activity a success. And many of your elder brothers and sisters who are now in the exercise of their profession as they are gainfully employed. That particular training was their passport in securing a job, because each of the establishment is mandated by the Republic Act 11058 to perform or implement in the workplace these provisions of BOSH. So therefore, I congratulate everyone for attending this alternative class, and of course, on behalf of the faculty and staff of the College of Technology and that um, of the Mechanical Engineering program, I warmly welcome all the participants, all our ME students, and other faculty members and students from the other programs who may have logged into our activity or alternative learning class this afternoon. Again, mayong hapon sa atong tanan, and enjoy listening to our speaker. Madam, ugid nga salamat.
Thank you, sir, for that warm welcome. At this junction, Mr. Matthew James Bilbao, our Vice President of Internal Affairs, will take the floor as he introduces our guest speaker.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. For our speaker, he graduated his bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering at Bicol University College of Engineering, Legazpi City, as one of the outstanding graduate in leadership. Took his master's degree of industrial technology at Iloilo Science and Technology University from year 2014 to 2016, and took his doctoral degree in industrial technology at the same university from year 2016 to 2019. He was the president of the Buseng College Student Council, the vice chairman of the Regional Congress of Youth Leaders, and also the board of director of the YMCA Bicol University chapter from year 2000 to 2001. He was the president of the Philippine Society of Mechanical Engineers, Bicol University chapter, the president of the University Student Council, the vice chairman of the YMCA National Congress, and was a member of the Board of Regents in Bicol University. He was also the treasurer of the Graduate Education Council of VSAT University year 2014 to 2015, and was the vice president of the Graduate Education Council of VSAT University from year 2016 to 2017. He was the former president of the Graduate Education Council of ESAT University from year 2018 to 2019. He worked for High Tech Power Incorporated in Novaliches, Quezon City as the area manager from year 2014 to 2019. He is a technical consultant for FESI Scuba Tech and is currently one of the faculties of the Mechanical Engineering program of our beloved University of San Agustin. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Dr. Hernan Levares Proyobo. Sir.
To the faculty, to our academic supervisor, Sir Elmer, good afternoon. And of course, to all the students present here. I guess we have students from other courses, no? Not just mechanical. Tama ba, James? Math, okay ba?
Yes,
Tama?
sir. Yes, sir. Correct, sir. We also
So,
have ano, sir, from senior high, sir.
okay, may high school din. So, sige,
Yes,
thank you so much for that information, no? So actually that's what I've been thinking, no, since this invitation, since I received the invitation from Joy. No, I asked what would be, who will be the crowd, ano ang profile sa mga crowd. If it is mechanical lang ba or may halo, no? Because I have to align my presentation to the crowd. Okay, so thank you so much for that information. And I was advised also by Joy beforehand na there might be some attendees from other courses. Okay. Second, I don't know kung saan kinuha ni Matt yung introduction sa akin. For as far as I know, maikli lang yung binigay ko, pero tama pa naman yung information na binigay ni Matt. No? Thank you so much for that introduction, Matt. And this afternoon, guys, I was tasked to discuss about occupational safety and health for mechanical engineering. But since our crowd, okay lang ang audio ko, clear man?
Yes,
Sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So since we have participants from another courses, actually, I prepared a presentation which will cater, it's a general presentation which will cater to all courses. No? We will discuss this afternoon about, of course, within the boundary of occupational safety and health. And since majority is mechanical engineering, I will be tackling what are those areas that concerns mechanical engineering as far as occupational safety and health is concerned. So we will discuss so that we will have common understanding. I will discuss what is the policy framework of the occupational safety and health, OSH, its legislation, how to promulgate, okay, the promulgation of OSH, and at the end, I will discuss what is the mechanical concern. But before I proceed, guys, especially to our their students, there's a question that I would like to impose to you. In your profession, whatever is your course, do you think occupational safety and health is important? And why? What are those aspects na you have to consider as we practice our profession? No? Because I was expecting that wala sang junior high school, no, most is from college and engineering. But anyway, I'm sure ang students naton, audience from high school or senior high naman na sila, definitely time will come, they will enter also into this profession wherein they are in the industry. And definitely, sooner or later, they will be handling people. No? they will be managing people. So is it important that we understand and we know what is occupational safety and health all about? Yes, it is very important because in the practice of our profession, guys, especially engineering field, no, uh, we are we are bound to be supervisor, manager, and we don't know. You might have your own company. Okay. So as part of management, we ought to protect the very important asset of the company. And what is that? The very important asset of the company is our people, our constituent. Okay. So their safety is our primary concern. Remember, guys, that the safety of one industry can always be equated to its productivity. The safety of one company, the safety of one industry can always be equated to the integrity of that industry. Okay? So that's one thing that we have to put in our mind. No? Safety is equals to productivity. Safety is equals to integrity. Okay? It is also important that we have to understand what is OSH because there is a mandate from the government. No? And you will understand more on that as we discuss what is the uh, legislation and the policy framework. There is a mandate, meaning the state or there's a mandate that the state should protect the workforce, no, of any industry. So sa di nanghali ng mandate na hindi naghali ng mandate na sa labor code. Ang labor code is just the product of presidential decree, no? I mean, under ng presidential decree, under Article 162, there is a mandate sa Department of Labor that they should be the one to facilitate in organizing occupational safety and health standards. Okay, it is the Department of Labor that has a mandate to look for the welfare of the working people. Okay, so isa-isa hunta, no? Isa-isa hunta. Before we go, guys, sa policy framework, let us understand first ano ini siya na ginatawag na occupational safety and health. No? May ginatawag ta na basic occupational safety and health, may ara man ta ginatawag na COSH, construction occupational safety and health. Those two terminologies, the occupational safety and health. Once we say, guys, occupational safety and health, we are pertaining to actually three major fields. And what are those? I-discuss ko na ni siya yun because it is not included in the slides. Okay? All you have to do, guys, is bear with me. I-introduce ko lang anay sa inyo what is OSH all about. Okay? It has three major fields. First is the occupational safety. Second is the occupational health and the industrial hygiene. So once we say occupational safety, meaning we deals with understanding the causes of accident inside our workplace or at workplace. No? We deals with that. What are the causes? And what are the measures that we can do with accidents? Okay? So that is about occupational safety. And ang second term naton, second major field naton is occupational health, which it explains how the different hazards and risks inside our workplace may cause an illness and emphasize that health programs are essentials in controlling work-related or mga occupational diseases. It has something to do with long-term effect in our health. Okay, because of the ambience that we have in our workplace. Okay, so that is another thing na that we used to study under occupational safety and health. The third thing is ang ginatawag nato na industrial hygiene. Okay, what is industrial hygiene? Ang industrial hygiene has something to do with the physical conditions of our workplace. What are the what are the controls of physical, chemical, and mga biological and ergonomic hazards that we can do inside the workplace? Ano ba ang arrangement, ang proper arrangement? What should be the proper arrangement inside the industry so that it should have no effect in our, say for example, in our body in the long term, no, while we are working in that place. Okay, so those are the three terms that we should understand first. Once nabatian nato ng occupational safety and health, so what we are pertaining for? We are pertaining for safety. We are pertaining for our health. We are pertaining for industrial setup that has something to do with our works. Naintindihan, guys? Naintindihan, Matt? Do si Matt lang pamati mo.
Yes, sir.
Ako man ang iban. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sige, relax lang ako ha. Daw ano man lang, di ba lang, it's an alternative class and later on, I want this to be an interactive because I'll be asking questions. We will be conducting some activities. Okay? Kung kaya nung pasang oras naton. Anyway, we have given me 1.5 hours. So, as much as possible, we will just focus on the general understanding which is applicable to all courses. When it comes to mechanical concern, agian lang naton. Anyway, you have your subjects, di ba, na basic occupational safety and health, and all of the details will be discussed there. All of the standards. Now, before ko ipakita sa inyo ang slides, let us understand this. There's a policy. There's a presidential decree. The state were mandated by the Constitution to protect the to protect and see the welfare of the working people. Now, the question is how to protect. Because kung tanaw natin guys, if we are going to look at the policy, this is very general. There are so many gray areas. No? It is not specified. It is not well defined. What if nobody follows the mandate? What will be the sanction? So that's why there comes the Republic Act of 11058. They empower the existing presidential decree. And let us understand this. Ang mandate, the mandate to protect the welfare of the working man, dugay-dugay na siya may ara. Ara na na sa labor code naton. Okay? The problem is, the provision is very general. There is no defined implementing rules. So here comes the what we call legislation. Because under legislation, they define everything. Terminologies. Once you heard the term euro, they know what they're pertaining. Once they heard the term standards, they know what they are pertaining. Because under legislation, na-define na tanan. So, during the legislation, guys, because of this, the general mandate is in Article 162 of the Labor Code. Now, because of that, here comes the occupational safety and health. They define everything. They remove the gray areas. So that's why they come up with this book. Okay? Nakasulat sila subong sa occupational safety and health standards. Okay. So, you know what, guys, as future manager, as a future supervisor, or as a future entrepreneur, owner of the company, we have to really understand this. Again, I'll say it again. The greatest asset that we have, if we will be handling people sooner or later, ara na kamuda, the greatest asset that we have is our people, our workforce. So we ought to protect them. No, we cannot compromise their lives because of return that we're looking. We cannot compromise their safety and health because we are just after production. Pag-aaral na kamo sa field, if you are practicing your profession, actually, the same with what Sir Elmer said before. There are so many accidents that happen in the industry. I was once in the industry. There are so many accidents that happens in the industry. The worst thing is when it costs life. Hindi natin kaya ibalik ang lives ng isa katao. Before these safety practices were taken for granted. Why? Because sometimes even the manager, even the supervisor, all you want is praises from the owner. You want to prove that you can produce this in a very short span of time. But then you compromise everything. Okay? Especially the safety of your people. You push them too much. Let them work for 24 hours. Even your equipment, your machineries, you push them so much. What you are after is the target. We have done that before. In the company that I work with, we have done that before. And sad to say, we lost one life. There's no expert, no? There's no expert. We ask for a substitute, not a well-trained man. We ask him to operate the machine. Sad news is, it's a press, no? Rolling, garol na siya pala, may gina-press. No? Sad thing is, nakasabay siya. We have so many negligence when it comes to safety of our people. A lesson learned, guys, is, and one thing that we should be thankful, and one thing that you are fortunate, is we already have the standards. Ano na siya? Institutionalized. It is written in black and white. It is scrutinized and reviewed by technical person. When I say technical person, those people who can relate and knows what the work is all about. Let's say, for example, when it comes to exclusive, what are the standards in exclusive? I mean, so all of those people that have knowledge about explosive, they gather together, they formulate, they promulgate, no? They promulgate and write these standards. They submit it to Department of Labor and Employment. It was being reviewed by the Bureau, and then it was approved. So we already have the guides. Okay, we already have the guides. So legislation, guys, no. There's no question. There's no excuse now for us. I don't know about the standards. Well, it's everyone's responsibility to know, especially ang course natin is engineering. Ang field of works natin is sooner or later magiging ano ka mo, manager. You will be handling people. Okay? So it is our responsibility. Even the institutions see that. That's why ang basic occupational safety and health is now part of our curriculum. Okay? So maybe I can share my screen now.
Yes,
Do you
sir.
understand? Do you understand now what is occupational safety and all about, and how it was being formulated? For how it is being promulgated? Do you have a clear idea na?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Klaro.
Okay, sige. Thank you. Hope so, ha? So para ano ha, we are of the same frequency while we go on with our discussion. So our topic is all about just make it a little bit bigger. Natabunan siya. Anong gapper sa inyo?
Ang whole PowerPoint, sir.
Hindi mo na,
With
sir,
slides
ma-present.
sa kilid.
Ma-present mismo. F5. I-present mo mismo ang slide, sir. Sa dalong. Extreme
Yes,
right,
yes.
sir. Okay. Okay na, sir.
So we will discuss about, anyway, we're done with that. We will discuss about occupational safety now. Now, the objective of this, guys, is we're hoping that at the end of the session, of course, you understand the legal policy framework. You understand the legislation, and you have to understand also promulgation and amendments. I will discuss why there's such an amendment, and what are the some provisions. Because the question, guys, is what if I'm working in a certain industry and there's no written standards about that? What are the conditions now? What are the rules to be followed? Okay, so we will discuss that, and then I will discuss some areas of concerns for mechanical engineering, for mechanical engineers. When I say areas of concern, I just base it on what is available, on what are the available standards, no? approved by the DOLE, that has something to do with our profession. Okay? If you have question, guys, at any time you can interrupt me. The time is 2:30 to 45. Kaya ta naman. What is important is the whole concept and the general concept of these standards is maintindihan nyo. Okay? So it is the DOLE that is responsible, no, in administration and enforcement of the policy regarding occupational safety and health. The basis of that is the Presidential Decree number 442, and that is under Article 165 of the Labor Code. Okay? Now, we have to understand the policy framework again. As what I have said before, there is already a mandate sa government. Mga government agencies. What are those mandates? There is a mandate to formulate an occupational safety and health standards and different field of profession. Okay? That is under Article 162. Guys, all of this article is under labor code. We have to take note of this. Under labor code na. In labor code under 164, there's a mandate to conduct trainings. Okay? That is very general. Basta you need to train people so that they understand what is occupational safety and health. Okay? And under Article 165, it is already stated who will do the administration and who will enforce. Okay? Under labor, under this provision, it is clear na it is the Department of Labor and Employment. In some cases, if that the DOLE can assign some government agency to conduct it, or sometimes the local government. Okay? Again, and in Article 128, there is a mandate that this bureau should conduct, visit, and enforce, no? They have to visit and enforce these policies. Okay? Under policy framework lang ta guys. We are speaking about presidential decree, no? About sa labor code. Okay? There's a mandate sa Secretary of Labor. They were mandated by the law to set the mandatory standards and enforce that standard. The Secretary of Labor should develop and implement training programs, increase number and competence of OSH personnel. Okay? If you look at the policy framework, this is what I am saying. Some of the policy is very general. Wala pa ni siya sang na-formulate guys na guidelines. Okay? It is not well defined. So that's why, okay, that's why nag-come up sila sa legislation. Okay. I am just showing you guys that there are so many articles under Labor Code of the Philippines na may mandate na gid siya, okay? May mandate na siya. Identify naman who will be the responsible agency. Okay? So, Article 165, ara naman siya. What are the what are the privileges of those inspector under the bureau? Pwede na sila, no? Pwede na sila magsulod sa mga industry. Anytime when work is undertaken, they can have access records Okay? And they can conduct investigation. They are allowed by the law. Okay? Anytime, pwede. All these question, syempre ang i-conduct nila, ang investigation na i-conduct nila is all of those that is related sa mga safety and health sa workers. Okay? Syempre ang iba na ang iba na topic, ang iba na aspeto which is covered by secrecy law, hindi naman nila pwede pamangkot na. They don't have access on that. Only those ang pwede lang nila investigahan are those that is related sa safety and health ng workers. I hope it's clear to you guys. Okay? They can order compliance of labor laws after due notice and hearing. Secretary can order stoppage of work or suspension or operations in imminent danger cases. There's a provisions like that. Ara na siya sa Labor Code of the Philippines. Now, once ang secretary conducted an inspection and he or she finds out that there's an imminent danger, he can or she can order a stoppage of work until such time na ma-comply niya ang kung ano ang gini-require. Okay? Again, look at the policy framework. It is not in detail. How? Until when? Halimbawa, if they have to comply, how many days, how many hours or days ang ihatag sila na palugit so that they can comply whatever is the demand of the secretary. What is the step para madula nato ng mga imminent danger na ina? Or if we address the imminent danger that they are saying, how? Okay? So, again, this is a very general policy. So from there, from general policy, they come up now with legislation. So we have the labor code. The labor code now, guys, serve as the guidelines, no? As the guidelines so that they can formulate occupational safety and health standards. So from general to very specific and well-defined policy. Did you guys understand what now is the difference between policy framework and legislation? Did you understand now before I proceed? Can someone please? Bisan
Yes,
isa
sir.
lang makaintindi, I will proceed. Okay. So, look at the scenario, no? Look at the scenario. We have this, again, general policy framework. May batas na, may presidential decree na. No? We have the labor code na of the Philippines. It is also written in black and white. The problem is that is really very general. So that well defined sila, they comes up with the legislation of this provision. So that's why occupational safety and health standard comes out. Okay? So baga, I want to implement strict compliance of safety protocols in University of San Agustin. How strict is that? Yeah. If that is the very general statement, you can ask, how strict is that? Unless it is defined. I-define niya na isa-isa. From 6 a.m. nobody's allowed to enter without niya approval from the faculty, and without the approval from AMSO, they cannot enter the premises of the University of San Agustin. Without any swab test, they cannot enter the premises of San Agustin. Without booster, they cannot, something like that. If that is a well-defined, then maintindihan na nila, no? Maintindihan nila from general provision that they release, and then they make an implementing rules. Okay, they defined it well, so maintindihan na nila. It's well defined, wala na balasang gray areas. Okay, so they come up with these guys, not just on how to implement this, no? Even the penalty, what if I don't follow? So naka-state naman diri sa legislation nila. Okay, so what are the penalty if a certain industry did not follow the standards? Stated naman na siya. Okay? So general standards, once we say OSH standards, guys, let us have this common understanding, no? It is a set of mandatory rules which codifies all safety orders issued prior to its promulgation. Okay? So this is just a set of mandatory rules. Once we say standards, we are pertaining to set of mandatory rules. Rules of what? Occupational safety and health standards, of course. Okay? The general provision. Halin man lang ni Japon sa policy framework. Ang employer, they are obliged to furnish his worker a place of employment free from hazardous conditions. Give complete job safety instruction to all his workers. Use only approved device and equipment in his workplace and comply with the requirements of the standards. Now, in this legislation, it is now well defined. Ano ang duties and responsibilities of employer? Of course, first and foremost, a workplace where it is free from all hazards. Okay? A workplace where all of your employees are informed what are the safety protocols that are being followed by the institution. If at any rate, mga exposure to hazardous chemicals, no? Hindi siya maiwasan. It is the duty and obligation of the employer to let the employee or to let his constituent know what are the possible hazards present in their industry, in the company. Okay, and it is their obligation as well to provide them with appropriate devices and equipment para sa workplace nila. It is mandated by the law. It is now well defined in OSH standards. Okay? So, nakuha nyo guys, di ba? From very general, hinimo nato na siya na well defined. Subong may ngipo na ang ginatawag nato na law. May ngipo na ang batas because nadula na nato ng mga gray areas. General provision, ano naman ang duties ng isang workers? Nag-ara ka naman sa industry, you also have your responsibility. Each worker shall cooperate with employer in carrying out the provisions of standards. You have to report kung may mga natabo sa sulod sang industry nyo. Okay? You have to follow all instructions by the employer in compliance with the OSH provisions. Okay? Again, guys, no? Tandaan lang nato, no? There are so many standards, no? Mga fields of specialization may kanya-kanya na. Fields of work may kanya-kanya man sila ng standards. Basta we just have to remember na once we are in a workplace, ang safety naton is always, this is everyone's concern, no? It is not just the manager that should remind you every now and then, hey, daw hindi na yung check ang ginaobra, daw hindi na safe, no? You're doing the other things, not safe anymore. It is not just the obligation of the owner. It is not just the obligation of the manager. It is a personal obligation that we have to secure ourselves in the workplace. Please understand that it is our personal obligation to make ourselves safe in the workplace. What does that mean? What if my manager is saying you do this and you find out that it's not safe? Which one will prevail? Hierarchy? You have to follow because he is your boss, even if your health and safety is at risk. Let us go back to the basic principle. Okay, guys, this is the basic principle. Your safety in the workplace is your personal, and that is everyone's responsibility. If at any given rate you think that your safety is at risk, whoever is that gives you a command, do not follow. Unless the ones giving you command will comply with all of the safety standards. Okay, you should provide me like this and like that. You should provide me with the proper PPEs. You should provide me with proper equipment. Okay, you should provide me with the proper tools so that I will do that job. You should provide me with a company. I cannot do it alone. Something like that. Okay? So please safeguard yourself for all of the possible accident that might happen inside the plant. Again, it is your personal responsibility. Hindi nyo na ipag-asa sa mga safety officer. Ang mga safety officer, they are just there to roam around and see if you are complying with the standards. Implementation of standards is for our safety. Well, for me, that is my personal stand to that. Ang safety and the health ko is my personal responsibility. So I would demand whatever it is sa company so that maproteksyonan ko ang self ko from any possible accident that might happen if I will not be using, let's say for example, proper tools for the job. If I am not using personal protective equipment. Okay? So it is also our responsibility as workers. Another standards, it is a mandate. Every establishment, they are mandated, no, to provide the DOLE with information as guide in its enforcement activities. Okay, this is free of charge. Kinahinanglan na nila ipasa na sa Department of Labor, registration of establishment. Okay? Mandated na ang tanan na establishment. Okay? Another standard. It is mandated by the law that a certain establishment should conduct training to their people about occupational safety and health. Okay? Aside from training, they are also mandated na they should have their personnel accredited by the Department of Labor and Employment as safety practitioner. Okay? So it is again mandated by law that each and every institution should conduct training. Clear? It is mandated that they have to register. It is mandated that they should conduct training and They should have their personnel accredited by the Department of Labor and Employment. Safety officer, okay? This is the duties also. If they have conducted, they have safety officers, no? Accredited safety officers. These are not the obligation of these safety officers. No? They have to advise the employer, supervise works on occupational safety and health. They should investigate accidents. Kung may natabo, the safety officer should thoroughly conduct an investigation. Why it happens? Diin ang lapses, diin ang kulang. Okay? Okay? They should conduct safety and health inspection. Even wala pa sang accident na natabo, the safety officer should be roaming around the industry, sa planta nyo, o kundi in ang workplace nyo, and they should be conducting inspection. Okay? Because there are times may mga unaware, some of your people are practicing unsafe practices. But the safety officer should be very observant when it comes about these practices. No? So that's why ang presence ng safety officer is very important inside the industry. It is also his duty to maintain the mga accident record system. Later on makita nyo na ang taking notes of all the accident, what transpire, why it happens, and ano ang ginobra na remedyo is very important. Gina-report niya sa DOLE, or at any time pwede na siya pangayoon sa Department of Labor, especially if there's a worst scenario, no, that happens. So it is very important that the safety officer know his or her obligation in duty. Okay? Another standard, it is mandated by the law that ang isa ka industry should form a health and safety committee. Guys, are you there? Harap pa?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
You have to remember this, again, I would like to remind you, guys, I would like to remind you that you will be, ang trend sang work nyo, sang profession nyo is pakatugid ka mo sa management. Kung may civil engineer man di, if there's a civil engineer here, remember, as an engineer, you will be on the management place. You have your carpenter to do the job. Ang mga mechanical engineer, you have mechanical technology people to do the job. Okay? Even mga architecture, they have the draftsman to do the job. Ang direction of your profession is on the management place. It is important, it is very important to know and know what are those provisions and mandated by law that this institution that I am working with should provide. Naintindihan nyo na? They should provide. Anong mga mandate sila? They are mandated to register the establishment, the industry, kung ano man i-register. Aside from i-register, ano pang mandate? They are mandated to conduct training about occupational safety and health. They are mandated to provide proper tools and equipment. They are mandated to provide personal protective equipment at no cost on the part of the employee. Okay? They are mandated to formulate health and safety committee. Okay? Anong purpose din eh? Siyempre, para wala sang manipulation, wala sang may mag-cover up, whatever portion that, there should be a committee. Now, when it comes to membership, since may standards na siya, even the membership guys are now well defined in occupational safety and health standards. Okay? Who should be the members? Well defined na siya. Even when it comes to terms, how many years dapat mapungko siya. Okay? Naka-define na siya. So this is this is the beauty of legislation. Okay? Again, guys, as engineer, you should know this because later on, you will be actually the one to demand this sa company na ginoobrahan niyo, especially pag nakita niyo that they are not following any safety standard at all. At least you know where to stand. You know that there's an existing law. You know that there's a mandate from the government that every establishment should follow this. Okay? Nag-gets nyo? Did you understand me, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is very
Yes,
important.
sir.
This is
Yes,
this
sir.
is where your power will come from when it comes to when it comes to demanding something from the industry where you are working. Okay? If you don't know where you stand, if you don't know what's the ground, then wala ka sang power. So that's why it's very important na mabalaan natin ha. What are what are the policy when it comes to health and safety committee na mandated by Lunan. They really should formulate a committee. Okay? It is defined in the standards. Okay? So, okay, that's it. Ariman gali sa slides ko. So, the composition, the chairperson, the secretary, and the members. Well defined na siya sa standards. We don't have to discuss that. That is just the types of composition of committee. Even at cases, guys, na halimbawa, wala amo lang ni siya kami kagamay. Hindi man kami amo nakadako. Even at the cases like that, there's a provision on the standards. Well defined na siya. So, I cannot go into details because 1.5 hours will not be enough for us if I will go into details. There are so many details, but one thing that I can guarantee you, it is written in Occupational Safety and Health Standards as amended 1989. Okay? Okay, just the types of compositions of a committee and the duties of Health and Safety Committee. Once nakakompose na sila sa committee, their duties and responsibility are defined as well. Of course, they're the one to plans, develop mga accident prevention programs, direct the accident prevention effort. That's the duty of the committee. But at the end of my discussion, we will presume that we are members of the committee. So we will do these things. Okay, provide necessary assistance, initiate and supervise safety trainings for employee, develop and maintain a disaster contingency plan. So those are the burdens that lies within the shoulders of the Health and Safety Committee. Notification and keeping of records, accident, and or occupational illness. This is what I'm saying, na-discuss natin kanina. All things that transpire inside the industry, inside the workplace that cause accident, or even it's just an incident, it should be recorded. It should be recorded because it is being reported to Department of Labor and Employment. Okay? Especially kung syempre, especially if that is a worst accident. Okay? As a safety officer, if worst come to worst, it costs life, no? Any accident that costs life, you have to prepare yourself for all the reports. That is very important because it will again be the basis of promulgation of another standard. I will discuss that to you later on. Ano yung mga promulgation. Okay, general provision. We're done with this. Okay, another mandate. it is mandated by the law that a certain establishment should provide medicines and facilities, mga medical facilities. Okay? It is also mandated by law that they should have an emergency mga medical and dental services. Emergency hospital, it is as well mandated by law. Sir, we don't have any capacity to build our own hospital. So what should we do? You should be affiliated with the nearest hospital. No? This establishment should be, dapat may ara ka mo sa hospital na affiliated ka mo. It is mandated by the law as well. Okay? Under emergency health and services. Okay? Guys, can you still follow? Do you know now what are those things that you can, that you should assert? No? If you want to protect your people and constituent, if you are the one handling the managerial position. When it comes to safety and health of our people, at least you know now what are those things that are mandated by the law. Okay? Occupational health and environmental control. It is also mandated by the law that they should they should have this. No? They should have this committee. What's this? These are the group of people who look after the ambience of the workplace. Kumusta daw humidity? How's the air there? Basi ba ubaho? May gasungaw ba? May gaano? Kumusta ang lights? Do they provide sufficient lights? No? So these are the group of safety people naman who look after that. Again, ara na siya sa standards. So if it is a standards, meaning the establishment should be practicing this. Personal protective equipment and devices, it is always the responsibility of the employer to provide personal protective equipment and devices. Whatever is applicable. We have this common sense, guys, no? And actually, may mga standards naman na ginusunod. If you are entering a certain plants, disturbing ba ang sounds? Does it have a very disturbing sound? So therefore, you have to request for protection para sa dulungan nyo. May mga flying debris ba? Small flying debris? If there is, you have to request for eye protection. Okay? May mga falling debris from a high place. So therefore, you should have your hard hat. Whatever it is, personal protective equipment that is applicable, that should be wear inside the plant. It is the obligation of the establishment to provide that. Again, tanawa ang 1081.01 naton. Every employer shall, at his own expense, furnish his workers with protective equipment and vary whenever necessary. Okay? Hope it's clear. Na? Clear man? This clear na? Personal protective equipment. This is the obligation of the employer. So when it comes, guys, to administrative rules of the standards, how we are going to manage occupational safety in this standard. So that hindi na kita malipat, let us just remember the north. No? The north. Notification of and keeping of records. It is very important. If we are part, no, of the Health and Safety Committee, say to it that the safety officers have all these records. And access to occupational health services is mandated to any establishment. What are those? Mga dental health, no? Dental services, okay? Hospitals. This is mandated by the standards and under rule 1960. Registrations of business. So every establishment should register their business in the Department of Labor and Employment. You can assert, okay, because it is also mandated by the law, that they should provide training and accreditation of personnel and OSH. Formulation of health and safety committee is one of the obligation also of the establishment of the employer. They should have this committee inside their workplace. Okay? So health and safety committee. North, just remember the North, guys, and notification, occupational registration, training, health and safety committee. That is the summary of administrative rules. Promulgation of rules. Okay, I will just discuss this promulgation of rules. Now, we already have these standards. May ginagawa ng Department of Labor and Employment. What if along the way in the practice of our profession, nakita natin as mechanical engineer, it's not right that we do this because maybe you acquire new technology na hindi pa na wala pa siya sang standards na nasulat. Now, what to do? Obraw nyo, you can promulgate another rules. Okay? Isulat nyo na siya in black and white. And then ipasa nyo sa Department of Labor and Employment, sa Secretary. Stating that this will be, we're requesting that this will be the standards that we will be following in the conduct of using this equipment. Okay? At cases naman, work conditions or practice not covered by standards. I would say, for example, I work in a underwater cable laying, underwater. When I look at the standards, there's no such as black and white written. What are the provisions on how to conduct underwater cable laying? So, what are the rules that I should follow? Ang provision naton sa Rule 10112, work condition or practice not covered by standards, ang ginagawa for as long as you can see, no, that it has the same nature, i-adapt mo gid ang standards na to. Even hindi naka-state, no? Hindi siya naka-state specifically na mo na siya ang gamiton niya sang amo ni naga practice sa mga gakandak sang underwater cable. Even hindi naka-specify na that is the standard that they should follow. Pero kung ang nature of work is the same nature of work na ginakandak sang gaobra sang ano ni siya. Let's say nga sa mining, no? Ang gakandak niya sa ano na siya. This is sa mga piping, okay? Mas related siguro sa piping. Gakandak niya sa mga piping works. So, what are the policies under piping works? What are the standards? So, you have to look at the nature of works. If there's an existing same nature of works, ang ruling ni Department of ang ruling ni DOLE is you have to adapt the existing standard if you will be conducting same nature of work. Okay? So that is the conditions. Mga special rules na ni siya. Abatement of imminent danger. Ano naman ni siya? You have standards na. You can conduct now your day-to-day work because all is stated naman what should be the policy that you should follow. But it so happened that the safety officers have seen an imminent danger. So they can suspend any they can stop the work even if will establish na ang standards nyo. Even if you are following already these standards. But if there is an imminent danger na nakita sa isa ka safety officers, they have the power to stop the operations and address first kung ano ang danger na ina. Okay? There's a policy and it is a written also in the standards. For as long as there's an imminent danger, we have to eliminate it first before we proceed to our normal work. Okay? Suspension of rules. There's also a provision there written sa suspension of rules. Ano ang suspension of rules? Even though we already have the standards again, but say for example, at that a given period of time, the establishment cannot comply it because of maybe budgetary issues. They cannot comply it adequately because of the time issues. You can ask for the suspension of rules. You just have to ask permission from the Department of Labor that for the meantime, we will not follow this because we were not able yet to provide, or we were not able yet to buy. There's something that they demand, no? There's something that they're looking for. Kung may mga issue pa sa budget, there's an issue when it comes to time frame, pwede nyo na siya ilabi sa Department of Labor and ask for a suspension and give your reason. And they will be the one to evaluate if they will allow the suspension of rules or not. Okay? So guys, those are the general rules and provision of occupational safety and health standards. We know now what is the what is now the policy framework, why they were able to come up with occupational safety and health standards. So after occupational safety, health and standards, well-defined, everything's well-defined. There's no more gray areas. Even more penalty, there it is stated. Now in every field, every profession, there is already established standard. It's just that, again, we cannot discuss that in 1.5 hours because it has so many coverage. So that's why ginkuha ko na lang guys, at least you have this general understanding. You know now what to demand from your employer. You know now what is your right. Okay? As of course you are always entitled to protect yourself in the workplace. That's one that you have to put it in your mind, guys. You are always entitled to protect yourself in the workplace. Okay? So one thing lang is, you know the existing rules. You know what's the mandate of the government to establish that. So you can use that. Okay? And you can lobby and demand sa mga employer nyo because you know what's the existing rules. Any question about standards? Time check, 3:30. Any question, guys? Sir Elmer?
Excuse.
Additional, sir? You want to add something, sir? I just go with the general provision of occupational safety standards, sir, para applicable sa tanan.
Okay. Ang ginadiscuss natin, what Dr. Briobo had discussed are the provisions which can be found in the workbook or handbook amo na ang Bible namon nga mga safety practitioners, ang basic occupational and health standards. So ang term namo na OSHS. So that was edited and upgraded until 2020. Although we are still using the old version kay if you will go to Google, may nagabaligya sina nga ano bala nga workbook. Pero ang discuss ni Doc Briobo ang legislation as to why this basic occupational safety and health standards were promulgated until lately that the government, national government had passed a law. Muna yung tawag na ito na Republic Act 11058 para mabutangan na sang nipon ang implementation sang sining mga policies and standards on how we shall protect the lives, uh, the life of our most important resources, the manpower, human resources. Kaya ang purpose nidri is to protect lives, loss of life, and damage to the property. So idugang ko lang atong siling kainan ni Dr. Briobo that in the creation of your safety committee, the chairman actually dependent sa size sang company. There are several types of safety committees. Ang pinakamarami dira nga parte in which there is this safety engineer other than safety officers. Mga anak, iba ang functions ng safety engineer sa safety officers. Ang safety engineer niya, amo na siya halos ara si Babaw, na under sa iya sa table of organization is of course the safety officers. Ang equivalent sang safety engineer, muna siya ang dimension man kita ni Doc Briobo, hygienist, no? Kay duwa ka bagay na kung production actually gid na purely mechanical kagay production ang ginapangita nila dira nga inclination or expertise is a safety engineer. Pero kung it will be more on pharmaceuticals, more on food processing, hygienist naman na dira ang ilang ginapangita nga specialist. Pero pareho na gyapon. In any case, kompanya, a particular workplace is mandated to report any accident, especially if it resulted to a loss of life. May mga cases balaan nga penalize ang kumpanya if ever they failed to report serious accident where a victim had lost his life. And we are only being given a time of 24 hours to report the accident to the nearest Department of Labor office or any of its representative, so that immediately that department or that particular regional office can send its own safety engineer to look into that matter and conduct immediate investigation. Kaya may nagkalatabo na nabalaan as we have already experienced, of course not in my company before, because modest aside, for 15 and a half years, or for 5.5 years rather, that I served as the safety engineer, we never had experienced a serious accident. Ang kalabanan itong mga aksidente sa amon to, lupaliit lang, siktiyap lang sa kilay, gamay nga injury, pilas-pilas, pero nobody had fallen from different location. Okay? So I think Dr. Brubo can share to you how would you know that a person falls from same level or a person falls from different level. Anyway, with this particular provisions of the standard, these different rules, which concerns mostly the mechanical engineers. I think Dr. Birbo will have enough time to explain this to you. Okay, take it away, Doc.
Say, thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. So that's an additional input from Sir Elmer. So now, guys, to continue, uh, I will not discuss anymore the details of these standards, especially to our mechanical engineering students. No, Matt, hope you understand why I will not discuss it into details, because it will take us one semester to finish all these standards. Now, if I will discuss about hazardous materials, gas and welding. Anyway, I have written here, guys, all of the areas that has something to do with mechanical engineers. Okay, we have a very broad practice of profession, guys, no, as mechanical engineers, especially nowadays na halos ang mga practices natin sa industry is mga allied na, no, not just one uh, field of expertise ang work sa isa ka area, but a combinations of, let's say, mechanical, electrical, mechanical ECE. No, so that's why even some of the, some of the fields, some of the works here are actually para tani ni sa mga amo lang ni na profession, but because of this ano nang ginatawag nato na mga allied na, ang practice naton, guys, is allied na as well, no. So ginbutang ko na lang din all of those na possible, all of those na related sa profession nato. We already have standards, guys, on the following. Okay, following future engineers. If maka-encounter ka mo mga hazardous materials, please refer to the standards we already have. When it comes to gas and electric welding and cutting operations, we have a written standards on that. Same with hazardous works and processes, on how to handle explosive. Okay? Materials handling and storage. This is very important. Sa profession naton, we always have this because usually ang mga engineers is from scratch design, no? Build. You have so many materials sometimes na kina-store nyo pa, may ginabakal ka mo, you use chemicals. This is very important. You know, you want to know the details about materials handling and storage. We already have standards on that. Boiler. Ano mga safety practices when it comes to boiler? Unfired pressure vessel. May ara naman ta. May internal combustion engine. May ara naman ta. Machine guarding. Very important ni sa aton. Electrical safety. Pang electrical man siya. Yes, it is. But most of the equipment that we are using as mechanical engineers, especially mga power tools, no? Related man Japon sa electricity. Okay? We always need electrical power to power our equipment. So we should be familiar with that. Elevators and related equipment, identification of piping system, power piping line. We have standards for fire protection and controls. Okay? So, amula ni siya, guys. I think it's 14. No? 14. Under occupational safety and health, 14 ang halos related sa profession naton. The rest, mga may ginkuha ko guro, mga anom lang na medyo layo na sa aton profession. Okay? Chemicals gani wala ako na din nabutang. Pero actually, ang mechanical engineers exposed man sa chemicals. Okay? Especially kung ara mo sa manufacturing, processing, no? Mga food industry. Ara man dyan po ng mechanical engineers because those industries operates with mechanical machines. Okay, so ara na guys, mga standards na. I will not discuss it sa inyo as mechanical students. Basta gusto ko lang mabalaan nyo na if ever maka-encounter ka mo sa work on this particular field, please know na may ara na sang standards dira and be familiarized with that. Okay? Be familiarized with that. Pwede nyo na siya ma-download actually. Diba? Pwede nyo na siya ma-download. You just type occupational safety and health standards. Tapos pangitaon nyo a particular topic. Let's say, for example, you want to know about fire and safety. Pwede nyo na ibutang. Well, nga na dula din ang fire and safety ko. Guys, fire and safety is fire protection and control. Okay. Okay. Now, what can I give you? I cannot give you a specific general. I cannot give you a specific safety standards because parehas ang gabol ko kanina, we have a very broad field of application. Kung sa amon pa nga isang una ginahambal nila. Pag mechanical ka gani, you are jack of all trades. No? Master of none. Gapati ka muna.
Yes, sir. All around, sir.
Muna na, muna ba ti answer?
Sa imo man, sir.
Pero when you look at the mechanical profession, it has really a very broad field. Just imagine you have hydraulics. Hydraulics is one profession. Pneumatics, one na siya, field of expertise. Diba? Pumping station, wastewater, transportation, aerospace. Even sa mga military, they need mechanical engineers, no? Manufacturing industry, plant, cement, halos, there are so many field of works na pwede natin kadtuan. And in every industry na kadtuan mo, you will face different types of mechanical equipment as well. Okay? So that's why halos kung pwede palang i-combine mo tanan na pwede matunan ba sa eskwelahan, daw tunlon mo na lang tanan mo para bisan din kadalon ara may masabat ko. Di ba? That's how we perceive things, guys, mechanical engineering professional. So I cannot give you a specific safety rules because I don't know what particular field kita mag-istoryahanay. Because each and every field of specialization, they have a specific safety rules on that. Okay? But for now, ang pwede ko ihatag sa inyo is the general safety rules, which can be applied to, kung hindi man sa tanan, almost all, regardless kung ano nga industry ang makadtuan naton. Okay? First and foremost, ano ni siya? Keep clean, no? Ang work areas naton. Do not operate machinery unless authorized. Even if authorized ka pa, if you don't have any proper training, manghindi ka na lang. Okay, gin-authorize kayo, operator. Guys, be honest. If you don't have any proper training and enough knowledge of the equipment that they want you to operate, say no. Say no. Okay? Unless they provide you first with enough information of what is the machine all about, how to do it, how to operate it. Okay? Number 3 is wear proper clothing for the job, whatever is it that is appropriate. Pero balanta man no? Once we are sa solusyong industry, sa mga mechanical engineers, as well as with our people, hindi pwede ang mga loose na bayo, mga loose na pants, and may mga kulintas kada, may mga bracelet kada. if you are surrounded with moving mechanical machineries. Okay? It is a big no-no. So you have to wear proper clothing for the job. Lift properly. Okay? This is when doing your jobs. Use legs, not back. Do not clean, oil, or adjust moving machineries. That's basic. Keep hand tools in good conditions. Proper maintenance. Keep machine guards in their intended places, wear eye protection where necessary. Be sure everyone is clear before starting equipment. Report all unsafe conditions, check electrical, and report all injuries and obtain first aid. This is the general safety rules. Now, masulod ta sa this is an activity. I'll just call siguro mga duwa na lang katawo because of our time. Guys, amo ni siya pinaka-importante. Ang bottom line, ang occupational safety and health is a written standard. Yes, it's good that there's something na kinahanglan i-follow nato. But ang nakasulat lang are those established and recognized na practices. And to tell you honestly, damo pa na safety standard ang hindi man nasulat. Wala pa sang provision. Now, how to do it? Paano kung wala provision? Di pa gusto na lang kita? Pa-aksidente na lang kita kahit wala man nakasulat mo. No? Papatay na lang ta, pakamot na lang ta, wala ay mapaipit na lang sang kamot. Let's have accident because there's no written provisions on that. No. One of the duty and responsibility of the safety officer is amo na ni siya. Now we will presume that you are safety officers. Ang pinaka-importante guys is you have this common sense. Common sense of what, sir? Common sense to recognize hazard. Once may nakita ka na hazard, you have to evaluate what are the possible risks na pwede matabo because of these hazards. Pag ginambal natin guys na hazards, there's mga unlikely mga possible conditions that is present in the workplace, no? That can cause accident. So ang hazard na ginahambal natin, ang recognitions of hazard can be may ara or wala. What does it mean? May ara or wala. Dapat may ara sang amo ni to prevent accident. Dapat wala na siya para ma-prevent ang accident. So what is important is you as safety officer, you as safety engineers should be very observant. No? And you should have this critical thinking. Kapag sulod mo dapat gaganap ang utak mo. We can do this. There should be a provision of this. That one should not be there. It should not be placed there. Okay? So, amo na dapat kami. Ano ang ara, ano ang dapat wala da. So, you should recognize mga hazardous situation. Now, evaluate. Pag ginambal naman natin na evaluate what are the possible accidents that might happen because of that, the presence of the hazard. Because of the presence of that hazard. What are the possible accidents? We have to define. No? Yeah, may kuryente. Okay, kung may kuryente, ano? It might cause fire. It might cause loss of life. It might cause lifetime disability sa isa ka tao. Okay? So we have to define that. After defining, we have now to implement mitigation or control action. Okay? We have now to implement or suggest ano ang action mo, ano ang control mo, how to mitigate that. Okay? After that, sorry, wala gali na ano niyang anticipation, no? Dapat identify, instead na anticipation guys, ang nakabutang dapat natin is identify who is the responsible person. first department. What department is responsible to that? If we can pinpoint a particular person, ibutang na to who is responsible to that. Okay? This is, guys, how we handle safety inside the workplace. Dapat may ara ka lang permi, mind, na analyze permi. Ano ang may ara at ano ang wala dapat. Para na ano ang may ara, anong wala na pwede mag-cause ng accident. Okay? Identification of hazard. If you can identify the hazard, evaluate what is the risk. No? Ano ang risk assessment for that? If you were able to evaluate naman what are the possible risks, what is the control or mitigation process that you want to implement? Ano ang recommendation nyo? And then, identify the person responsible. Okay? I only have 2 slides, but I'll give you 2 minutes. And then, siguro si Joy yung tawagon ko ay. And then after that, by just looking at the picture, no, I want you guys to give what is the hazard that you were able to identify. And then, ano ang risk assessment mo da? No? Ano ang risk assessment mo da? What are the possible accident na pwede matabo because of that hazard? When it comes to risk rating, hindi nyo na ni Anay pagsabtan. Okay? Because ang risk rating naton, guys, diri nato gina-evaluate naton if ang na-identify nyo na hazard and ang risk assessment mo is it in low, medium, or high impact? Now, for us to have an evaluation if that is low or medium or high impact, mahimo pa tanan sa matrix. No? Paano mo siya masabi na high, paano mo siya mahambal na medium, and paano mo siya mahambal na low. We need to study all of the situation, and we will make a matrix on that, and that is another session. Okay, that is another session on how to conduct risk assessment. Okay, so for now, ang kinahinanglan ko lang is just identify the hazard, evaluate the risk, and then give me the mitigation control, and then who do you think is the responsible person? I'll give you 2 minutes. Okay.
Regarding for the activity this afternoon, sir, sa again present mo, sir, we have plans, sir, nga we will question each year, sir, sang mechanical engineering program para ma-interaction man kita, sir. So, for example, first year to fourth year, may 1 or 2 questions sila regarding sa topic natin kagina, then masabat sila sa ari, sir, sa imong activity para somehow ma-interaction man kita, sir.
So we will just call a representative from each level, no?
Yes, sir. Oo,
Okay,
randomly
yes, sir.
or may representative lang sila. Okay, sir. Thank you. So,
Okay.
to all, ma-start kita sa first year. So, who among you have questions and inquiries regarding sa topic kagina, or else gani may ano tang ni sir ang instruction mo, or may nakita ka mga possible accident or incident sa ari sa picture nga gin post ni sir? So, anyone? Or maybe mga seniors anay naton, fourth year. I guess strange niya kaninyo ang muli nga picture kay so far do wala ta pa man niya nakita siguro.
Wala nakita. Ako muna.
Sige. Harap si Manong Matthew.
So for the risk na nakita ko dito sa picture, there's no fire extinguisher. Then sa hagdan, wala sang may gakapot sa hagdan.
Kasi sino nga din si Reyang.
Si Manong Matt. Manong Matt
Ako, sir.
from fourth year.
Identify ka na lang isa ka hazard.
Oh, isa.
Okay, sir.
I-diretso mo ng risk assessment ko dira. And what is the mitigation control? And who is the responsible person? Para masundan sa mga low year.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sis. So, for the first hazard, siguro nga pinaka-obvious para sa akin, is ang cable management And the possible nga mitigation para maano ini is hipidon naton ang cable management kay as you can see damo tao nga nagalakat, may bata gani nga nagadlagan, and there are elderlies nga nakabaston na, and which is very budlay na para sila maglakad. So cable management, especially ang cable sa daan is ara sa floor. So importante gid nga ang aton cables is stuck as much as possible ara ang aton cables for me sa sides. It's because ang sides amo na ang less per me nga ginaagyan sa mga tao.
And responsible
And sir. And sa question, sir, I prepared a question in regards sa topic na kaina.
Okay.
So, ang question ko, sir, is as a graduate of any engineering course or any course nga may training under COSH or BOSH or a COSH or OSH, ano ang possible field of work possible nga pwede namon ma-practice even nga wala pa kami lisensya. Like hindi siya applicable lang for engineering. Like example, I am a graduate of any med field sir nga may training sa OSH or BOSH. So ano ang possible, ano ba lang ang mga possibilities nga possible works nga mo nga maano either nga hindi kami license.
Okay. Sige. First and foremost, being a safety officer doesn't require na dapat graduate ka sa mga muni, na? There's no requirements like that. Because being a safety officer, short courses ni siya, trainings na you have to avail with the DOLE. So, once nag-undergo ka mo sang training and safety officer, may certificate na ka mo na you're done with BOSH or COSH, ang employability nyo is actually damo as safety officer. Okay? As safety officer practitioner. So halos demand ni sa tanan, no? Bisan mga tower lang gani na gina-erect. Gamay-gamay lang na tower. The contractor will not proceed kung wala ka musang gin-hire na safety officer. O anong requirement sa safety officer? Wala man. Basta may certificate ka lang from the Department of Labor and Employment. Nga lang, ang advantage guys is amo ni siya. If ako ang ma-hire, no? If ako ang ma-hire, mapili ko sang safety officer ko. And at the same time, gapangita man ko sang engineer. Pasado or hindi. Basta gapangita ko sang isa ka mechanical. Let's say for example, because ang obra sa sulod sang plantang hiya is mechanical. So I'm looking for a safety engineer. Amo lang na ang kinahinanglan ko, safety engineer. Pero kung may duwa ko na aplikante, ang isa education graduate at ang isa mechanical, syempre edge per me, syempre may advantage per me na mechanical graduate ka because makaka-relate ka sa obra. Di ba? Pero kung gusto mo mag-safety officer ka lang, bisan sa civil, electrical, pwede gidya as safety officer lang. Okay? Kamo lang na siya pwede nyo sudlan as safety officer if hindi nyo pa kaya i-practice ang profession nyo. Ang ginahambal ko lang subong is, what is your advantage kung safety officer ka na and at the same time, amo pa ni ang field of study mo. Di ba? Bisan ako kung ako mahir ko isa na lang. Bisan magdugang pa ko sildo gamay, wala kaso. Kaysa mag-hire ko isa ka mechanical, mahire pa ko isa ka safety. No? Wala man na sa provision sa OSH na kung sino ang safety officer.
Ang na-question ko sa unsafe 7 point. Ang website.
Okay na?
Oo.
Yes,
Did I address the question?
yes sir, yes.
Okay, sige.
Sabagay.
Sige. So,
So anyone else sa mga other courses, grade 12, first year, second year, third year. Hindi ka mo maguya-uya magsabat kay approachable nakatama ang amon guest speaker sa book.
I want to
Kaya
know,
kung magambal, pwede nyo ma-chat ang inyong question.
Or pwede nyo ma-chat na lang.
pero namin
Kami makambal sila, sir, no?
Oo. Sa mga first year kita ni sir kay hindi sila kakilala sa inyo. Ara,
First year kag second year.
so we have sino to?
Andrea.
Andrea.
Good
Andrea.
afternoon, sir.
yes,
I will answer the activity, sir.
okay, very good.
Yung hazard po is, actually marami po. Yung isa po dun is yung facility management po mismo ng lugar. Yung ano po, yung management ng gamit, pati po yung pagkikater ng mga pagkain, pati yung arrangement mismo ng whole
Yeah.
po.
Sige. Medyo very broad talaga daw, medyo marami siya, no? Pero can we at least identify just one and then let's go to, this is the hazard and what's the possible accident na pwede matabo because of this?
Okay pa. Yung po, yung vehicle po sa loob mismo ng building, tapos yung harap niya po is mga boxes, I think. Yeah. Tapos yung po, yung risk na maring mag-occur is syempre accident to the person who is involved po. Pwede siyang mahulugan, then pwede din siyang masalpukan dun sa mismong stage po ng ng event.
Okay.
Tapos yung mitigation and control po, siguro yung rules sa mismong building po, yung dapat na sundin para po maiwas yung mga ganitong aksidente. Tapos yung responsible person po is yung mismong organization and facilitator ng mismong lugar. Bakit po nakalusot yung ganitong klase ng occurrence? Kung bakit po nagkaroon ng ganitong accident or magiging ganito. Yun po.
Okay, sige. From what department nga si Andrea?
First year po,
First year mechanical na sir. Don.
mechanical engineering po.
Okay, sige. Thank you so much for that, Andrea. So,
May question po ako regarding sa may sir, sa may mismong topic.
predict that one. Okay.
Di ba po ang yung topic po natin is about food dun sa may regulations po na kailangan or pinapatupad po para sa mga safety ng mga taong nagtatrabaho. Then, can I ask po if there's a sector in the government po na nagsusupport ng ganito, sir, if ever na hindi po sila capable gumawa ng mga protocols na dapat gawin para sa safety nila? May nagsusupport po ba?
Ma'am, ganito. It is the Department of Labor and Employment who will
Yes,
enforce the law. No? They are the one. Sila ang binigyan ng authority ng government.
Sila din po yung nagsusupport sa mga mga organization na hindi or mga maliliit lang po na business na hindi kayang mag-support sa sariling na gawin yung dapat na na gawin para sa may safety nila. Is there any budget po na ganyan? Mag-budget, something na nagsusupport?
Okay, ganito. Ang budget when it comes to formulation, budget when it comes to provision sa mga PPEs, responsibility ng establishment yon, no? So alam naman ng alam naman ng mga business owner yan. Once you go with the business, you know what is the responsibility. Ang kaya lang i-support diyan ng Department of Labor is information dissemination, training and everything. Okay? They can ask the assistance of the Department of Labor and Employment. Now, when it comes to halimbawa, dapat mag-provide sila ng ganito, mag-hire ba ng nurse, mag-hire ba ng physician because may access dapat ang mga empleyado sa health and care services, health and dental services. Now, actually, dito sa occupational safety and health, tulad ng nabanggit ni Sir Elmer kanina, may mga provision dito. Kinakategorize nila kung gaano ba kalaki ang isang company. Ganito lang naman kasi ang tao namin. Actually, they are not required to hire their own doctors. They are not required to hire their own physician, even nurse. They're not required. Part-time lang, no? Or as the case rises. Kasi maliit lang naman. May mga cases lang na kung malaki na, ibig sabihin, the employer have the capacity to build and hire, no? Big crowds. So therefore, dapat protection na niya mana, and I'm pretty sure that he have also the capacity to have an additional pila naman, additional nurse, additional one, so that it will contain the committee. Okay? For the question na ipo-provide ba ng government, hindi po yon. More on trainings lang, assistance ang kayang ibigay ng government. And strict inspection lang siguro to see to it na they are implementing the safety, the occupational safety health and standards. Did I answer the question?
Yes po. Thank you very much po, sir.
Okay, so welcome. Now guys, for the next, who will suggest, who will answer the question? Kita nyo naman ang ginawa ni Ma'am Andrea, hazards, she identifies, and then the possible accident that might happen. Okay. Nga lang, when it comes to mitigation and control, let us be specific. Okay? Let us be specific. So there should be no vehicle inside the area. Okay? That is the control that we should be doing. Dapat restricted na sila da. No? So let us just have a specific solutions for every hazards that we have seen in the picture. Next, senior
So,
high.
who else among senior high? So, third year, Giselle,
Sir.
or si Rayo. Si Ren, sarap pa si Ren sa fourth year.
Si Emer siguro may
Or si Emmer.
Ang table pala, sir. Hindi siya stable. Though damage mo lang table, sir, ang isa nila ka-leg. Ang hazard yung nakita ko. Ang mga risk assessment naman niya, sir, nga pwede maula ang mga pagkaon, kag ang bayi nga ga-serve, pumumpong pa siya sa chair, basi magdagdag siya kag magka-injury. Tapos ang may sala, sir, ang isa sa mga ga-facilitate, kaya wala nila nauna ang safety sa mga employees nila.
Okay. Ang responsible person, guys, hindi mo siya sa may sala. I mean, siya lang ang responsible to do the mitigation control. Okay? He is the one responsible to do the mitigation control. Ang mitigation, what's the mitigation control that we can do? Ang mitigation or control?
Ang it's either sa mabakala ng sangbag ko nga equipments or repair na lang.
Okay. Stable na table. Okay? So that's very specific, guys, di ba? Kalawa isang table, may bali, may very specific is provide sang stable na table. Okay? So who's the responsible person? The one that conduct the activity siguro, no? Because ila man siguro in charge ang mga Panahon dala who's if we can identify the one who conducted the activity or the safety officers, we look after that, no? So important is we know who is the responsible person for that hazards na identify natin. Guys, if this is if this will be your thinking every now and then na magsulod ka mo sa workplace nyo, I tell you, you will be an effective safety practitioner because nakukultivate nyo ang mind nyo every now and then on identifying the hazards that is present in the workplace. Okay? So, any more? Anyone?
sa second year. Mayara.
1 year.
Dear MS students, kadamo sa hazard dira ha. Baby,
Yes, sir.
be skillful. Let your mind work. Hindi lang ko magtugna kay damo ko nakita, pero you should rather speak up. Okay, para
Kuya lang na sila siguro, sir.
posible.
Yes, sir.
Come on, guys.
Sa second year, kasi may
Oo, second year.
second year.
Ako, sir.
Sir.
Sino na? Sino na?
Ikaw na lang muna, Jess.
Si
Okay,
Giselle?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, the hazard nga nakita ko, sir, is about ang old man nga naga-cigarette, and then may may wire may wire nga ara sa dalom niya. So, pwede siya nga if once mataktak ang mga kwansang cigarette is pwede masunog ang wire sa dalom, and then also pwede nga madalahig ang atong isa ka old man nga tungkod, and then also the speaker sa stage, sir. And then I think the mitigation control is also, I think, same siya with nung Matthew nga dapat is ihipido nila ang ilang mga wires so that ma-prevent ang ina nga accident. And then also the responsible person is, I think, the management also, and also the facilitator man, sir. And by the way, sir, I have also a question to the topic, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So my question, sir, is when and how often should a safety officer conduct a maintenance checkup, and also what are the penalties, sir, nga mako nila if mag-break sila sa safety and health nga law, sir?
As safety officer, actually, if you are pag halimbawa dako ka mo na company, you are employed as safety officer of the company. Ang inspection, that's being done every day. Actually, at every start of the day, once nagsulod na ng officer, gatiyog na siya. Malibot-libot na siya. And he will take note of all the hazards na makita niya. Okay? And he will actually put the risk assessment, what is the possible cost. And actually, he will put also some suggestions and i-address niya man kung kanino natawag. Okay? Every day, ginaobra na sa safety officer. Of course, halos, lalo na kung employed. Now, when it comes to sanctions, there are internal policies. No? May handbook ang kanya-kanya na company. So, depende kung ano ang nakasulat sa handbook nyo. Okay? Yeah, first offense, what should be the sanction? Yeah. It might be na oral reprimand. Second offense is written reprimand. I am speaking about violations of safety protocols inside the establishment. Ang inyo lang. Sa mga day-to-day to work nyo. Kaya the safety officers can reprimand. Pwede niya na ipaabot sa administration, sa pinaka-manager nyo, okay, ginagamo niya siya, or sa HR. So as per our policy, matag kita sang sanction na amo ni. So depende kung ano ang nakasulat sa handbook nyo. Okay? Depende. Now, when it comes naman sa violation sa establishment, that is violation of establishment to the implementing agency, which is the Department of Labor and Employment. That's another story. Did you get it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so depende sa depende sa established na rule sa handbook nyo, sa company.
Thank you, sir.
Okay? So at least ang nami siguro diri sa ginhambal ni Ma'am kanina, no, ang mitigation control, since may nakita siya na case mo, there should be a specified place as smoking area, hindi na dapat sa sulod, no. There should be a specified place, not inside the hall. Okay. May harap pa? Anyone?
No, sir.
Ang first aid kit, sir, sa unod. Kag ang car park. Sobra kalayo.
Wala unod, no? So, anong mga risk assessment po da? If there's an accident that might happen, wala ka mo sang ihatag na first aid, no?
First aid, sir.
So, pag may mga, di ba, may mga aksidente gid man, may napilas, may na. So, wala ka mo sang first aid actions na mahimo. So, what should be the mitigation? What's the control? Provisions of first aid kits, no? Medicines, provision. Naman siyang control naton. So that hindi matabo na pag may natabo, wala ka mo sang ihatag. So dapat may naka-stock da sa first aid box nyo. Who's the responsible person? Kasi may nurse ka mo da sa company, okay? Kung wala, safety officer. Tibot-tibot siya and pabutangan niya na. Okay? So that's very good observation. First aid kit. Okay. Ari pa guys, no? I-share ko lang sa inyo. If you are to work in a company, or if you are to start your work, see to it, namo ni siya. Never start the work. Una, kung wala sang may makakita sa imo if accident happen. Pangduwa, if there's no available mga first aid kit, no? As much as possible, don't start the work. Mechanical nga daan, hindi light ang work nyo, no? Heavy gid ang work naton kung ara mo sa industry. So, see to it na ang mga provisions about access on these medicines and healthcare is available anay before ka mo start sang work nyo sa isa ka company. Very important na siya. Okay? So, furthermore,
Sir,
yes.
yung ano po, yung sahig po ng mismong lugar, tapos malapit po sa may exit. If ever po na may nag-occur na tawag dito, natural parang aksidente po sa mismong loob ng building, tapos mag-evacuate po sila, mas may possibility po na mas lumala yung yung accident kasi sa mismong tapat ng exit kung saan dapat po sila labas magiging safe, doon pa po sila ma-aksidente bago sila lumabas. Parang ganun po.
Yeah. That's very good observation. No? That's a very good observation. So, if may accident na, pag nagano ang mga tao, it might cause another accident.
Yung mitigation control po, sir, siguro yung daily or something, dapat po na palaging chinecheck sa may, ang tawag dito, sa building po. Tapos yung responsible person po is, yung nag-check, parang yung nag-check dapat mismo ng mga lugar or ng mismong building po sa may kumpanya. Parang yung mag-held ng responsible doon. Yun po, parang ganun.
Minsan may tinatawag tayong building administrator, no?
Yes po.
He or she might be the one responsible for that. Mitigation control natin is, ang exit is should always be clear. Ang muna siya permanent policy, basta mga exit na gani.
Opo, tapos naka-ano pa po siya, naka-stairs pataas.
Yeah, no obstruction, okay, on that day. Bisan sa diin na establishment, pag it cater, no, a crowd, it is always number one rule na
ang exit mo, especially mga fire exit, no? Pero may gitna siya dapat clear. There's no obstruction dapat tira. Okay? Si Ma'am, okay na to, Ma'am? Andrea, okay na to,
Yes
Ma'am
po.
Andrea? Okay,
Opo.
si Ma'am, Ricato, raise ng hand.
Sir, raise hand, sir.
Si Sir Patrick.
Hello, sir.
From STEM 12G.
Okay.
So, may nakita ko, sir. Ang person nga gana sa wheelchair, is that comfort room ang ginagawa na? Ginaturok na gali.
Yes, comfort room.
Okay. So, the hazard, sir, his, ang health, because, since PW or malaman sa, di ba, dapat amang malaman, ang first, ang ginanda ang health. Like, since he's, incapable of walking, dapat, sa risk rating, that's it, sir. Sorry. So, kung hindi sa ka-walk, sir, base, kung itry na gid magsaka sa may CR, may hagdan, base magbaling tuwad, sir. So, the mitigation or control, it should be, sir, may assistance since it's a conference for person with disability or disorder and elderly. And responsible person, sir, is the management, garo, sir. That's all. Thank you, sir.
Sir Elmer Goro, may madagdag daan. si Jan Gasaka.
Nakita niya doon close sa group chat ng post ko. This gathering is for PWDs, persons with disabilities and elderly, judging from the appearance of these people inside this hall. Now, itong concern kayo na isa ka PWD ng lalaki outside ng CR, tama itong impression natin nga, that's a portable comfort room for the gents. However, ang mali dira, which should rather require some control or mitigation is, dapat naka-incline na siya where this wheelchair can travel safely upward. Yeah? So, hindi na pwede sa may wheelchair, kaya dapat kung nakita natin ang mga areas where wheelchairs are being provided. Naka-incline na dapat ang sa lakaan dira pagkatapos sa comfort room sa mga lalaki. Okay? So, kung ganit panawag nila na ang term nila sa pwede pa makalakat, dapat tama nga ito nga may ma-assist dapat sa iya. Okay? Ayun. Kadamo-damo, das ang makita nyo mga sir. That's why ang clue dira, ang gibutan ko is PWDs and elderly para makita nyo mga clues dira sa mga search niya. Gal, mga anak kadamos palibot, no? Pilap lang kaso na na-mention nyo. Hindi lang ko magtugda dira, para nga kamo mismo you should rather be technical kay mga inclination gid nato na dira mo. Okay, so sige, dear students, hindi ka mo magkuya maghimo sa inyo reaction.
Oh, excuse sir. So we will cater the last questions na lang, sir, kay short na kita sa time, sir.
Okay, sige. Anyone, any question, please?
Mapinpoint
We've seen Grace Hans, si Mr. John from first year.
Or or di gani, may iba naman tanga course sa CHE.
Or
Okay.
from other course, any question?
Okay. So,
Si Miara,
for the CHE course,
HE or any other course.
Excuse me, si Miss Rigato from STEM 12, doon nag-ibaya mo to sa kamot na kanina.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Naka-ask na sa question. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, CHE.
CHE, other courses, BSHE, BSPH.
Wala na.
May kita from this pharmacy.
Yes, sir.
Obvious
Miss
pharmacy.
Romela, any question?
Na naman, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Kasi hindi mo kuya-uya pa mangkutod para sa masabat ka sa mga students natin.
Anyway, ang additional ko lang, no, ang mga building establishment, they are required to provide a PW friendly stairs, CRs, and bina-require na sila subong once may butangan sila CR, dapat accessible good sa mga PWD. Amo tong sakto gid sa aside sa stairs na step by step, may ara gid sang naka-inclined lang na makaagi gid ang wheelchair.
So, day na ta.
Kung anyone, wala na further questions in regards sa aton alternative class.
Okay.
Wala
Wala na question. Gusto ko lang ibutang ta Japon ng references kayo.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay, anyway. Thank you so much, guys, for your time. No? Thank you so much for your time. And of course, before I end this, I want to leave this message to you. No? Reminders. Once we are inside the plant, the machine has no brain. So we have to use our own. Okay? Para
Yes.
safe kita.
Ang budlizer ko nang kagamit sang machine, wala man bala utok sa raw.
So, thank you, sir.
That's all, guys. Thank you very much. And that's my presentation.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir, for giving us your valuable insights regarding our topic. So with that, and thank you, everyone, for that interesting interaction. So I hope you have learned something, and let us always bear in our minds that safety is very essential, not just for engineers, but also to all of us. So now, we will have our President, Ms. Giselle Joy Dayan Ciudad, for giving of certificates. Welcome, Ms. President.
So allow me to present to you guys the Certificate of Recognition. So University of San Agustin Junior Philippine Society of Mechanical Engineers Certificate of Recognition is awarded to Dr. Hernand L. Briobo in grateful recognition and commendation for imparting his invaluable contribution as resource speaker during the alternative class entitled Basic Occupational Safety and Health for Mechanical Engineering, given this 4th day of March 2022 at the University of San Agustin, Iloilo City, Philippines 5000. Signed, Giselle Joy D. Ciudad, President of Junior Philippine Society of Mechanical Engineers. Signed, Engineer Elmer N. Tolosa, Advisor of Junior Philippine Society of Mechanical Engineers. Signed by Jerimar Jeric M. Anatan, Coordinator, Recognized Student Organization. Signed by Reverend Father Jonas M. Mijares, OSA, Vice President for Augustinian Formation and Mission. Signed by Eric C. Divina Gracia, Director of Student Affairs and Welfare Office.
So, let's
Thank you, sir.
Let's give them a round of applause or thank you kita kay sir. So, thank you, sir. And also thank you to all the faculty and staff, especially our academic supervisor, Engineer Elmer N. Tolosa, for the time and effort in attending our alternative class. And to end this year's alternative class, again, we have Miss Giselle Joy Ciudad for the closing remarks. And lastly, before we leave this Zoom meeting, please be reminded of the evaluation form and to be submitted today. Bali, ang link for the evaluation form is send lang later na sa mga presidents ninyo. So thank you guys and keep safe. Goodbye.
Joy.
Okay, so distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I am very honored and delighted this closing session. Allow me first to convey the special thanks and appreciation to the JPSME officers and advisor, Engineer Elmer N. Talasa and Engineer Nolan S. Sudaria, for their dedicated work in organizing this alternative class. I have seen that they have put their heart and soul to make this event happen. I would like to thank the guest speaker, Dr. Hernand Albriobo, for sharing important knowledge on basic occupational safety and health for mechanical engineering. Thank you for your outstanding knowledge, skills, and experiences that have been imparted to us about the topic and its importance. To the faculty and staff of mechanical engineering, I would like to thank for sparing your time to attend and witness the JPSME alternative class. Your presence is very much appreciated in this event. I thank all the participants who have been attended, raised pertinent question and cooperation which has enabled us to conduct this fruitful event. I believe that during the webinar session, all of us have obtained a fruitful discussion. As an engineering student, basic occupational safety and health is very significant. It is our job in creating an environment that is safe and we are all responsible. Do your part by following safety guidelines and policies. Avoid taking risks when it comes to safety. Be aware and do your part to maintain a safe workplace environment. Understand the particular hazards related to your job or workplace and keep clear of potential hazardous areas of situation. Be awake and attentive on the job and particularly aware of machinery. Once again, on behalf of JPSME, thank you for delivering such important materials so that all of us can deepen our knowledge about basic occupational safety and health for mechanical engineering. Thank you for coming, everyone. Keep safe and God bless.
Okay, God bless everyone. Thank you so much.
Photo ops, documentation.
Okay.
So please stay everyone for the documentation of our alternative class. So just wait, guys.
Open your cameras if you have.
So please open your cameras, everyone. So 1, 2, 3, smile.
Bye. Next slide.
Next slide, please. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Head of the program na ba?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Sir Tolosa, Sir Hernan Briobo, Sir Sudaria, and to all the faculty and staff, Sir Neil, Benday, thank you for the time and effort. Salamat.
Okay, sige guys. Thank you so much.
So, ang mga students please remain anay for some activities or some
Instructions. For some instructions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We can leave now.
For yes,
Okay,
sir.
sir. Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so
Chairman.
much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Elmer
Thank you,
Tolosa.
sir. Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir.
For ME students, kindly remain in the meet for some instructions.
Wait lang, hindi ko masend ang ang link.
Ay, ang link.
Hindi na lang ko send, wala na sa Sir Jeric.
Ang submission link natin.
Ano na lang, email na lang sa mga nag-register siguro.
Sige.
Oo, email na lang later. So guys, ato activity this afternoon, dasig man lang dyan. So please open your Cambi for mass
Allowed daw? Allowed daw nga gamiton yung meeting link.
Bisan wala na kamo, bisan wala
na galing. Wala naman
Tama
ang
ka.
galing si Sir Jeric.
Gamiton to na lang ni.
So,
Ito
amo
na rin
start
wala.
na natin. So, everyone, especially ang mechanical engineering program, so ara na si si Engineer Elmer Tolosa, muna ang tsura sa naton nga academic supervisor. So,
Pinakagwapo.
pinakatigas.